Mick, thanks for taking time out of your very busy schedule to be here with us today.
Hey, Yanni, how are you?
I'm good, and how are you doing?
I'm very well.
Wonderful.
What do you need from me today?
Well, we have a few questions we want to ask you. We want to try and give the viewers a little more insight into, what goes on here, how decisions get made, where Waves is going as a company. Waves is known as a plugin company, first and foremost. But we've seen a lot more than just plugins being developed in the last decade, especially when it comes to hardware. Now, how would you describe Waves as a company today? In one sentence, what does Waves do?
So, Yanni, Waves is not a plugin company. Waves has always been a technology company, well, technology-driven. Fortunately enough, it was plugins that we decided to start with. But over the last couple of years, well, probably about 10 years, we have introduced various technologies that kind of help the plugins. They're kind of enablers. So we're now at the age where we have a platform which is called SoundGrid, which allows us to expand the option of working with our plugins into various aspects of the market, which I guess we'll talk about later. We have listening technology, the NX product, which in a way is a plugin, but it's way beyond just a plugin, and that ventures into the consumer market as well. So we're kind of a technology-driven company making plugins, making hardware that enables the plugins to perform at a better way or in a different way than the traditional recording studio has been over the last decade. And we're moving forward with more collaborations between hardware, software, so especially plugins that require a lot of, let's call it DSP, so we can elevate the quality of the plugin and provide the back end for the user to utilize the quality of these plugins.
I do want to ask you about the type of plugins that have come out in the last few years. We've seen the introduction of plugins for what I like to call the non-engineer, the musician, someone who doesn't quite have the knowledge of the pro. He just wants his music to sound better, but he still wants that level of quality, the same high-quality plugins that you just spoke of. Specifically, when we talk about like the Signature Series, Infected Mushroom Pusher, Shep's Parallel Particles, these are all outstanding plugins and very complicated, but they've been designed so basically anyone can use them. Now, some people love the concept, but some people say you're making it too easy and you're taking all the skill out of it. What do you say to that? Is Waves moving away from the professional market?
Well, no. We adapt to changes, and that's part of our success. We listen and we work with the very amazing users that we have today. There's a massive introduction of new talent to this industry. Some of them haven't gone to the recording schools, some have. Some of them are musicians who just want to record their music, songs, albums, singer-songwriters who haven't been to a engineering school, but do want to record. And a lot of the companies provide them with a basic digital audio workstation, which requires some processing. So we're allowing them through products like One Knob, Iron Pusher, to create a professional sound level without the need for the engineering knowledge. So we're not taking away from the engineer, because I think at the end of the day, for them to be at the level that they require, they will need to go to some part of that as well. However, to record a good quality song, they could definitely use some of our products and will get that pro sound. On the other hand, you mentioned Andrew Sheps. So what an amazing engineer. And creating all what he has in his mind, all that talent, into one product is no easy task. And when you listen to that product carefully, and actually part of the marketing around that product is that it is for professional engineers. You need a tuned ear to listen to what that does. You can't just put it on a track and it goes, wow. You need to know what to do with it, how to use it. So our products are kind of all over the place. We try and cater for the new singer-songwriter, musician. We are obviously devoted to our pro community. And then, of course, there's the massive DJ market, remixers and mixers, and that's where the pusher comes through. So we're kind of working our way through. Obviously, we now have virtual instruments, which is, again, something that we've developed over the last couple of years. We're kind of looking at various aspects of the market and providing them with quality product.
Now, speaking of the Schoeps parallel particles, you said it's a complicated plugin. How long does a plugin like that take to develop?
When we develop a product, it's anything between 6 to 18 to 24 months, depending on what product, who you're talking with, and how successful you are with the development.
So if the ideas are sort of coming from artists, from product managers, all around, how do you decide whether or not to move forward on something, and who is it that gives that final, okay, you can go?
Great question. I've got no idea. No, just joking. So yes, there's different balls in the air all the time. And we kind of go through this process. We are going through one right now, actually, where we evaluate and prioritize everything. So there's a plan in place. There's ideas coming in from artists. There's ideas coming in from product. There's ideas coming in from R&D, which are sometimes amazing ideas because they're kind of far-fetched. Sales bring in an idea in. Users write in and send ideas that sometimes are amazing ideas. So we kind of take all that stuff and we have this grand masters list. And then we need to go through it and decide, okay, this is going to take so-and-so and it's going to make so-and-so, because we are looking at financial and marketing as well at the end of the day. And it's going to take so much time, resources, and who do we do first? So this Grand Master Excel kind of cuts down into a list which we nail down at the beginning of the year, and then a couple of months later we go through it and say, okay, this was a good decision, this needs to change. Oh, this is a new idea which has come in, which we think is better than this one. And it kind of shuffles ongoing. In the meantime, we have releases happening. So the space kind of opens up every time and a new product comes in. So it's an ongoing task. It's part of what the HM with product managers kind of do on a daily, well, not daily, maybe monthly basis.
Let's move on a little bit to the world of live sound. Now, in the studio, Waves is a major player when it comes to gear. You can find Waves plugins in pretty much every major studio in the world. However, in live sound, Waves has also carved out quite a big footprint. We're supplying not only plugins, but interfaces, DSP servers, recording software, and now the heart of it all, digital mixer, LV1. Seeing as so much of the live signal chain is now supplied by Waves, would you say that Waves has become as big in live sound as they are in the studio world, maybe even bigger?
Well, we're not as big in live sound as we would like to be, but we're definitely on the way there. Live sound is only 10 years old for us. And the live sound industry has been introduced to plugins only 10 years ago, more or less, by Waves. The funny part of it, which ties into the question you asked earlier on, the reason we are in live sound is not due to plugins, but due to a technology that we created, which is called SoundGrid. And I mentioned that earlier on. So that technology actually provides users to run Waves plugins in real time using SoundGrid servers and specific IOs, like the company we have collaborated with Digico, which is called DigiGrid. So as far as market capture, well, studio is still way bigger than live sound. We are on a amazing path with live sound. We have an endless amount of users that now have got various types of consoles running Waves through various hardware IOs, all provided by the SoundGrid offload option with SoundGrid servers, some in real time, most of them in real time. We've introduced LV1, as you mentioned, which is, we're now, I think we're about around 300 units working on a daily basis. Some of them are big installations, some of them are small installations, but it's a software. It's the first time a software live sound mixer has done that well, and can provide not only the flexibility but also the sound quality that's so much required in the live market.
Actually,
so we're definitely big in live sound, or getting bigger as we speak.
And we saw that Will Madeira, who's the engineer, the front of house for Pitbull, just won like a major live FOH award, and he's using the LV1 on tour.
Yes, definitely he is, and quite a few others. And I'm not going to stop mentioning names because I'm going to forget someone. But thank you all for using it. Yeah, it's we get reviews on a daily basis from users saying, "Oh, we listened to this thing and it sounds amazing. Can I get information? How do I get it, etc., etc." We've got a lot of interest about LV1 and running plugins in live sound.
Now, actually, SoundGrid, we're going to come full circle here because SoundGrid, you mentioned, was developed for live sound.
Not really. It was developed.
It was developed, but
It was technology, and then we went, amazing. Okay, let's do this with it.
But it's introduced in live sound, and it's made its name, let's say, in live sound.
True.
However, today, on the day that we're filming this, we're actually releasing something called SoundGrid Connect, which I'm personally very excited about as a home studio user. Could you talk a little bit about that and explain what that is?
Well, SoundGrid Connect, in a very simple way, will take any I/O that you have, which has a driver, and bring that into the SoundGrid network. By doing that, it will allow you to do two main things. One is offload your plugins by using a Waves SoundGrid server, and two, create a network for your I/O with additional either SoundGrid or non-SoundGrid I/Os. Let's talk about each of them separately. Offloading. That's been a big name. We actually had a product about probably 12 years ago, which did offloading, which sold amazingly well. Unfortunately, we stopped manufacturing due to technology reasons, but offloading is a big term. The number of plugins everyone's using is just expanding. The plugins are getting better and require more DSP. We have third-party SoundGrid plugins joining in. So you're there doing your recording or your mix, and your desktop or laptop can't handle the amount of plugins you want to use, and it kind of stops you from being creative. So Waves being Waves, we say, okay, we're not going to stop you being creative on one hand, and on the other hand, we don't want to stop making quality products. We have some ideas where the plugin does require massive DSP. Let's create the system where you can offload plugins onto a dedicated plugin server without you going and changing your Mac or PC every couple of months, which is a tedious task anyway.
And expensive.
Well, I'm not going to go in pricing right now. Now you have this driver, which is called SoundGrid Connect. And whatever I/O you have, and I'm not going to mention any names, you will just download it, it's free, and you're able to offload any amount of plugins, SoundGrid, Waves, third-party SoundGrid plugins onto this external server and continue working. So that's one aspect of SoundGrid Connect. The other aspect is networking. Obviously, nowadays, networking is becoming a nice way of collaborating between band members in the studio, outside the studio, and running a Cat5e or Cat6 cable between units just makes sense. So now you'll be running that between your desktops and laptops, and SoundGrid Connect will allow you to see all the different I/Os on the network, depending on what the I/O is and what the driver is. There is latency issues. If you're using SoundGrid I/Os, then obviously the latency is nearly 0.8 mil, more or less. But it does create this network, which we're providing. Again, the driver's free. Go use it. Go try it out.
So we've talked about Waves in the studio, talked about Waves in live sound. Waves is also pretty active in the consumer market. Now, I know this isn't really your area, but what can you tell the viewers about that?
Well, Tomer manages the consumer department, sales and marketing. But over the last decade, we've been highly active in the consumer market. We obviously have products with Dell. We have products, or we are working with Intel, and we have products with Asus. We're embedded in some of the mobile phones. And it's a massive department that we have here that deals with a completely different skill set of how to work with these type of companies and how to develop product for them, which is kind of different to the pro market as far as the way they need the delivery done, the way the marketing is done. The ideas, most of them are similar. They just are refined for the consumer market, and we're quite successful there.
So basically, we're taking the studio quality sound that Waves has been providing to everyone, trying to put it into these tiny consumer devices that have,
Well, let's refrain that. It's not studio quality sound anymore. It's studio, film, live, DJ. Anyone dealing with good quality sound is where Waves is. And we're delivering that message to the consumers through these manufacturers, be it Dell, Asus, and a long list of others, which is on our website.
We've had a slogan at Waves for many years that when something like where there's sound, there's Waves. And it
exactly.
sounds like
that's exactly where we are. That's exactly where we are.
Let's wrap this up by talking a little bit about you and your musical background. Because although you manage the business of Waves, you've actually got a long history in music and sound. Can you share some of that background with the viewers so they get a better sense of how you got to where you are?
Well, my father was a musician. And by the age of 7, he said, Mick, piano time. And I had all these charts with classical piano music, which I hated. And by the age of 10 or 11, I used to go with him to his performances, and he used to play and sing. He was multi-talented, accordion, piano, trumpet, you name it. And I went to these performances and I was looking at the drummer. And it's kind of, oh, my father's there, but I'm looking at the drummer. So basically I wanted to be a drummer. So I became a drummer. So at the age of 10 or 11, I got this very small kit, not a child's kit, but a small drums kit, and started practicing and playing with the usual bands, doing covers, not jazz, mainly rock covers. And I think it was maybe when I was 13 or 14, listening to different albums, I fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you ask in my family, met Frank Zappa's music, which was kind of the end of everything and the beginning of everything else. And since then, I've been, devoted to following his music and good friends with the family, especially Dweezil. But through that, I started listening to not only drums and music, but sound. And I kind of got entangled with that part of the industry, and I continued playing, but I went more and more into, okay, I want to be this guy who does all the sound. So I sat in for a few years as a assistant and started getting sessions here and there. And then at some stage moved to London and worked over there as well for a while, still playing, but recording. And then Australia, which I did only recording. Then opened my own recording studio, got freelance work, moved out of the recording studio, did freelance work, and through all that got involved in equipment. So where do you get the equipment? How is it built? And got in touch with various manufacturers about dealing with equipment. So I think when I was 25 or 26, I kind of moved out of the studio and more into the business of the music industry on the equipment side. And that's kind of where I am today, enjoying every day and every minute of it.
Excellent. It's fascinating to hear.
Thank you.
Mick, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Yanni. Hope to see you next year.
Yes.